Hi everyone, this is Anissa Ginja Art Channel, and today we are going to record a podcast with amazing 3D character artist Heather Courage, and this podcast is going to be about education in game dev and in CG in general. So we are going to discuss, is it possible to learn 3D on your own by YouTube videos and free tutorials, or it is better to go to CG schools or to ask for mentorship? Apart from this, we are going to cover difficulties which you are going to face if you are going to learn 3D on your own, and we will speak about the benefits when you learn 3D on your own, in a CG school or at mentorship, as well as we are going to discuss a lot of very interesting and useful things for you. But before we start, please subscribe to the channel, and I would be very grateful to you if you make reposts of this video on your social media. And now, let's go.
Very sensible, serious conversation time now.
So, hello Heather. Thank you for joining the podcast. We are going to discuss education in 3D, which I think a very interesting topic, and it is always important because time changes, but education is something what we still need in 3D to succeed in this area. So
I think it's also like a massive gray area for people getting started in 3D work or anything really, trying to decide like the best route to take. It's always a good thing to discuss before you make those decisions.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you have already started like learning something in 3D, you may know where to go next or how to develop your skill. And let's discuss it today, how we can be contributional, how we can be useful for people who are going to start their career in 3D. And the first which I want to suggest you to discuss is tell about your experience in 3D education. Tell us, please, which was your way in learning 3D art?
So I started doing 3D art around about the time of the pandemic, and I just so happened that I was working with a game team. So I was really lucky to have people that were supporting me and helping me and kind of teaching me. The first time I opened Maya, I had someone there holding my hand, thank God. And then once I kind of got into it, I did initially try doing self-study and learning from different tutorials and, you know, learning from what the internet told me, which was a whole thing that may or may not have been a good choice. And then eventually I went into getting actual courses, and I went to CG Spectrum and did a full-time course there, and that's where I met you, which is amazing. And you know, you never stop learning. So even though I've graduated and I've got a lovely piece of paper telling me that I'm a 3D artist, like I'm still very much learning and studying as I go, and that's why I harass you on a daily basis.
No, it's okay, not harassing me at all. It's okay.
How about you? Where did you study? How did you get into it?
My way was very weird because I never wanted to be a 3D artist. I never knew that such a profession exists in the world. I don't like drawing. I didn't play games at that time, and actually I don't play a lot of them right now. So in my situation, I just wanted to work in a game dev company because I like the office. First of all, I came there to apply.
Fair reason. It's a fair reason. Have you
Exactly.
seen, like, people's offices? Obviously, you want to work in a place that's got slides instead of stairs.
Exactly. So I came to the office of Plarium, it's a Ukrainian company, one of the most biggest and famous, and I tried to apply for the role of editor or content maker. I don't remember already. And I failed the interview, and they said that I need to find something creative because on this position it's not going to be interesting for me. And when you enter their office, you see a big robot there. You see there a piano. You see a motorcycle there. Like a lot of things, amazing things. It really looked like Google in Ukraine. Can you imagine? Of course, I wanted to work there on any position. Just hire me. And
I felt that way when I went into Square Enix in London, and they've got all of the like they've got the Chocobo and they've got all the things from all the games. And it's like, if I just live here, will anyone notice? I'll just move in. It'll be okay.
I felt same, absolutely same. And well, I looked through their creative jobs where was like
Yeah.
2D artist and 3D artist, 3D character artist in there was. And of course 2D, I realized that it's drawing, which I don't like,
Yeah.
which I don't want. And I Googled, what is it, 3D artist? What is this job?
You
And
Googled what a 3D artist is.
yes, I didn't know at all. It was
That
like
is-
10 years ago in
That's a very
2014.
weird way for you to choose your career path.
Exactly. I was very like, I don't know, open-minded, easygoing. It was just, okay, I have already spent 14 years for learning English. It's okay for me to change the career. So yeah, because I graduated in foreign languages, like it was
Yeah.
supposed to be my career. And I said, okay, I
fine.
don't want. Yeah. And I Googled, there was an article of a 3D artist who actually worked in that playroom.
Yeah.
And when I read the article, it, by mistake, it seemed to me that it's not that difficult. And then, okay, I will spend 2 months at courses and I will come here. The same day I found courses which were in my city. I don't know why, but they were in my city. I think that courses were first courses in Ukraine, and they were like studying everything, like Maya, ZBrush, animation, FX, like everything, like during 1 year. And I decided to apply to these courses. I remember I came to my mother telling her, you know, I need $1,000 for the courses because I want to be.
wish it was $1,000. I wish.
Ukrainian expenses are lower like
Yeah.
than like European ones. But for me it was
God.
it was very expensive, but it was like for the whole year. And she told me the first thing which my mom told me, that you don't know drawing, you don't like drawing. I said, okay, it's not drawing. I don't need to know how to draw.
Yeah.
And I went to these courses and I just fell in love with all this 3D stuff from the first lecture, and I liked everything. The thing is, the courses were good if you are talking about learning instruments. So you know what extrude is doing in Maya, you know what is Dynamesh, but it's no use when you try to create a character because you have no idea about the pipeline. It was so like random. And I realized that like courses are not enough. But again, it was 10 years ago. And at that time, I had no idea that somewhere in the world there are other courses which you can take to learn this 3D. At that time, there were a lot of information on internet about like as right now we have a lot of tutorials. At that time there were like nothing. We had like one book written by a Russian author called Understanding Maya. It was a very thick book.
Good.
Yeah, and that was it. So I don't know, you know, right now when I think about if I decide to change my profession in future, I know what to do. I have the strategy, what I need to do. But at that time, I was just I just
Blindly
opened.
going in and hoping that you're going to get what you need out of it. I think also, like you said, you thought it was going to be an easy thing to learn. And I think I had the same thing. I was like, how difficult can it be? Like, it's making shapes. How bad can that be? And it's the technicalities in the pipeline that you don't realize. And I think a lot of the time, if you're learning from something like YouTube and you're watching YouTube tutorials or someone else working on something, they don't include that sort of information. So you have this false idea of like, oh, I sculpt the character. The character is done. That is it. They often won't cover things like, you know, what to do next. Once you have a sculpt, you still have to do the retopology, you still have to do the UVs, you still have to optimize it, you still have to do all of the technical side of things. And a lot of the time that isn't shown because it's not sexy. It's not, no one wants to watch like a full video on retopology. It's not fun.
Yeah, because no one wants to watch, but maybe, well, I think someone wants to watch it, especially when he's looking for this information. But the thing is, I think the problem of tutorials, especially those free tutorials, is that they tell you that here is how you sculpt a character, here is how you sculpt the retopo, but they are not covering these refinement things.
They also don't cover when you get it wrong and how to fix it, which is a huge failing in a lot of tutorials.
And actually it's understandable, because how to cover something what you don't have in
Yeah.
your pipeline. If you didn't come across some of mistakes, if you do it just automatically, like you try to keep your sculpt clean, and just other people don't know how to do it, and you came across this mistake because you just have a lot of experience. But a lot of newcomers, they have these mistakes and they just don't know what to do with it. After these courses, I was like on self-studying for 3 years, and after that I was like, it was like big miracle. I was hired to Dragonfly Studio, and I had a very good team leader who taught me everything. He just retaught me from the start. And after that, I think I took a couple of courses in anatomy, in 2D drawing, surprisingly.
Oh, congratulations. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. And like this year, I bought the course of Jay Hill because he is making realistic characters. I'm stylist character artist, and I actually want to learn these techniques of making realistic characters because right now it can just broaden my expertise, and I can for me to make to know how to make like more characters. I haven't started it yet. I don't have time, but it is planned for the next year.
Oh yeah, no, look, I hoard tutorials and courses. I have like a file full of these things, and I swear at some point I'll get to them. I swear.
Okay.
At some point it'll happen.
So connecting to all of this, what was said, I want to know your opinion. How do you think, is it possible to learn 3D on your own by tutorials, by free tutorials? I mean, not by buying courses or buying mentorship, just
like
by yourself.
Straight off of just YouTube videos. I mean, obviously there's some people out there that can, because they have done it, which is great. I'm not one of those people. I need very strict regimens. Otherwise I won't do anything. I need deadlines, because I'll do the work the day before the deadline. So for me, I struggled. And I think, again, like if you don't know what you're looking for, if you don't know the pipeline, how do you look up that information if you don't know what the question is? I think I had that when I first started studying at CD Spectrum, and you were my mentor there. A lot of the time I said that to you, like, I don't know what the question is, but I know that this isn't how it should be. What am I doing? And having someone that you can converse with and provide those answers it's so valuable. I think the most valuable thing I have is a mentor. Mentors are a gift, because without having someone to help you and explain things, you can watch a tutorial, you can pay for a school that gives you some courses and course material, and you can watch the course material as much as you want. But again, if you have made a mistake and it's not covered in that course material, you need someone that you can go to and say, hey, I don't know what I've done wrong here. Like, can you fix this? How do I fix this? What do I do next with this? So, I mean, you can definitely teach yourself. I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think it's a great idea, but you could if you really wanted to.
Yeah, actually, I agree with this. I just have something to add to this. That, of course, it is possible. Actually, I know a lot of self-taught artists who are like amazing artists. But the thing is that time has changed. If before it was like 15 years ago, it was okay that you, I don't know, for 10 years you just open 3ds Max like once a week, and you just keep on doing something and you learn from your mistakes. Right now, I think we can't afford ourselves to spend 10 years on self-learning. Because there are a lot, during these 2 years, the artists who took courses, who took mentorship, they will be already like senior artists, while you're going to be on the junior level. So I think this is one of the problem, of self-learning. However, I think self-learning is quite good if you're already like on the level of middle, maybe on senior, because you know the process, you know the mistakes, and the only thing which you need to know, maybe some technical things, well, how Arnold works, how Unreal Engine works.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes absolute sense. That makes total sense, because then you know what it is that you're looking for. You can specify what it is that you're trying to find the answer to. But if you're going in from a blank slate, man, you need help. You need the
Exactly.
jump that I saw in my own work when I first started. And I thought I was very clever, by the way, when I first started. I thought I was very smart because I'd followed a few tutorials and I'd done one or two pieces of hard surface modeling. And I thought I was very, very clever. What I didn't know is that those tutorials that I was following were so far out of date.
Yeah,
that
that's like another problem. Yeah.
everything that I had learned was totally irrelevant. No one uses that technique anymore. I mean, I was learning how to do texturing directly in Maya using shaders and all the rest, which is a really cool thing to know. I'm glad I know it. But no one's doing that anymore anyway. So why did I learn it? Why did I spend so long learning that? And having a course that was structured to be the output that you actually need. I think that's the most important thing. Like if you're going to go for a school, check to see what their course material is, make sure that it's up to date, make sure that it's following the latest techniques, because even though you're in a school, you know, they may still be regurgitating old course material to you. And they might not have updated it recently. And with the way and how fast technology is changing, how fast things change in this industry, you kind of need to be a very, very agile learner because otherwise you're going to be behind. And the moment you're behind, like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, exactly. The skill of adaptability like is very important. And actually what I also was thinking while you were talking is that when you choose a school where to go for 3D, to learn 3D, I would recommend to find people who already study there or who have graduated already, and to send them a direct message asking like, do you recommend it or not? I think that's not that difficult to find. You can find it like very often we tag our works like CG Spectrum, Think Tank, Gnomon or something. You can just look through the tag and find the person who is studying there. And I think this person, the student, will give you like the most accurate information because it's like private message. There's nothing to hide. It's like it doesn't harm.
Exactly.
So it's better to ask because I know like such things sometimes happen.
And don't go to the school itself and ask them because they'll direct you to a student that's probably paid to say good things. Find someone by yourself. Find someone. Go to Instagram. Like just go on Instagram. You'll find someone. They're all over the place.
That's actually what I have never done, but that's what I think should. That's a good for consider to do it in order not to waste your money. Exactly.
I've had people contact me out of the blue on Instagram asking me about the courses and stuff. So, you know, you can do it. And most of the time, like that's a nice thing about the industry that we're in, the 3D industry. Man, we're all nice people. Like there's not a lot of bad people in the industry. I'm saying that fingers crossed because I haven't come across them yet. But like everyone's kind of friendly and nice and nerdy. So if you just send a nice polite message, you'll probably get a response. You'll probably get the information that you're looking for. Like reaching out to people, it's good for networking as well. Just don't be shy to reach out to people. It's not that bad.
A lot of beginners, they are afraid to drop a message to like very famous artists asking them for the feedback or for, I don't know, for some advice or something like this. And that's a big mistake because a lot of artists, they are open. I had this situation in my own experience. Well, like it was like, I think it was even before Dragonfly. It was like 7 years ago. I made that Chromie, which was awful, completely awful. And I sent
that bad. Oh my God.
And I still wanted
it's cute.
But it was like bad done, really, like not well done at all. And I remember I wanted to work on Overwatch. Of course, it was just the beginning of Overwatch. And I sent a message to Renaud Galan, who was like, as far as the lead character artist there, and asked him for a help. Not for a help, for a feedback. And it was on Facebook. It was just even not on LinkedIn, not on ArtStation. It was on Facebook. And he sent me such a long feedback with examples. So nice. I was so grateful to him for doing this because, well, I live on the other part of the world. I sent you a really bad work. I asked you, and you sent me a long feedback. I was so much grateful for him for this. So it's like a precedent that people answer. And right now I know a lot of artists who answer if you ask them for feedback. Some of them will maybe guide you to some courses, maybe give you just small advices. Someone will just give you really a long advice, but it's okay reaching people, and that's precious advice which you get from those people because they're already in the industry for many years.
Absolutely. Like, again, it all comes down to mentorship. Mentorship is the most valuable thing that you're going to get out of this industry. Like, finding someone that's willing to be your mentor and help you and guide you, even if you're paying for it, so worth it. So worth it. Like, it is invaluable, the level of advice that you get from having a mentor.
But people will tell you that it is very expensive.
So life is expensive. Life is expensive. You get what you pay for as well. That's the other side of things. Like, you do get what you pay for. And that's something to be aware of. Again, if you're going to find yourself a mentor, make sure you're getting a mentor that's going to teach you the thing that you want to learn. Make sure you pair up correctly, because a lot of the times, like, if you join a school where they pair you up with a mentor, if you know that you want to learn stylized art, make sure you get a stylized artist as a mentor, because otherwise they're going to teach you their workflow and their practices, and it's not necessarily going to be what you actually wanted to get out of the course. So having the right person guiding you is so valuable, and it's so important. Know what you want to learn to start with. Like, unless you're going in and you're just like, I don't care, I just want to learn whatever, in which case, good luck. You'll get partnered with someone and I'm sure you'll learn something, but
yeah, I also think that mentorship is the most expensive, but the quickest way to grow your skill. But when we are talking about mentorship, I personally would recommend to get the mentor when you already know Maya, ZBrush, Marmoset, and Real Engine, because you will pay a lot of money, and it's not worth it if the mentor will spend this time explaining you how Maya works. You hire a mentor to explain you the pipeline, to explain you your mistakes, and not these like buttons. So it's
and
better.
Flow, and like you, I mean, I use you for all of my mentorship needs, and the amount that you've taught me in terms of like silhouettes and outlines and why the flow works and what sort of curves you want and why they use those specific curves, that information is often not included in courses. So having someone like you, or you know, your mentor of choice, that can explain the artistic side of it, rather than, like you say, I don't want someone to teach me Maya, I can figure Maya out on myself. Like, I'll learn that I can get a cheap tutorial and I'll be okay. But having someone to explain the finesse behind things is really, really important.
Yeah, that's true. So before going to the mentorship, make sure that you know how to make extruded wire, how Dynamesh works, all these things.
Yeah, I mean, I still come to you and I'm like, I ask you questions about, you know, how does, and then you will demonstrate and show me how things work. But without having that base knowledge, it would be really, really difficult. Although that said, I learned ZBrush from you, and I came in blind, not knowing ZBrush at all. And you managed to walk me through that process. Because ZBrush is now my favorite thing in the entire world.
Yeah, same as mine. It doesn't brush more than mine.
Absolutely. But that's the thing. Like, if you're choosing your mentor, be aware that your mentor is going to influence so much of your skill set, your knowledge, and what you end up doing. I went in hating, you know, UVs and retopology, and you really like doing UVs and retopology, and from that I now like it. So, or making hair, like, I know you really enjoy making hair, and you share that passion with your student, and they end up liking it as well, and that becomes their favorite thing to do as well. So, you know, choose your mentor wisely, otherwise you're going to end up doing retopology like me all the time for fun.
Well, I think that usually people don't like some parts of the pipeline, not always, but mostly because they don't have a lot of understanding how to do it. For example, same happened to me. I hated texturing for a lot of time until I just made myself learn this texturing, and right now I'm okay with texturing. Same as rendering. So you don't like
not
this.
Okay with texturing. You got sent to a conference to talk about texturing.
Well, yeah, actually, GDC.
okay with texturing.
But that was, but before I had period when I didn't know texturing, yeah. Returning to the free resources, there are a lot of free resources on the internet. And I know that very often artists, they just create time lapse. And this time lapse is like 3x, 3x4 speed at this speed.
dangerous.
And what is your opinion? Is it possible to understand anything from this time lapse, and is it useful for artists to record this time lapse?
Like, how much are you really going to learn if you're watching something at 3 times the speed? I don't know. I don't think I've ever learned anything from a time-lapse video. I've enjoyed watching them. I love watching time-lapse videos because it's nice and it's pretty. But I don't think you're going to learn a technique from them.
I think they can be useful if you already have experience. I personally learned a lot from such a time lapse.
Really?
Yes,
Oh my God,
it
no.
was like
It's too fast for me. I can't.
no.
I need it done slowly.
That's I slowed down on YouTube. I was watching Jay Hill's video. It was like 9 hours how he was making the cyberpunk girl, which his, and because it was like some realistic style, and it was rendering in Arnold, and it was like X-Gen, not what I knew before, and I couldn't find any other information that I like the way J. Hills is making everything, and I found his time lapse for 9 hours. I slowed it to 0.5 speed, and I was really looking what he's doing, what he's pressing, what exactly notes he is making.
Yeah, okay.
So
See, but like that makes sense because you still slow it down. You slow it down enough to be able to see what's going on. Watching it at the speed that they record, well, not recorded it, at the speed of the time lapse, like that.
It's for fun. Yeah, that's for fun. Just look, it's going to be nice reels. But well, again, what I think, when you need something, you will find it anywhere. You will find a way to do it, because I know, I had a situation when I was recording time lapse, and I received, like, on my YouTube a lot of comments like, nothing is understandable, it's ununderstandable, why have you posted this? And I was just thinking, I can understand from other people time lapses, what they're doing, what instruments they're using, and to repeat it on my work. So
again, I think if you have the base knowledge or the understanding, then it sets you in a stronger position to be able to understand these things. I know that if I'm learning something from you and I've watched something that you've sent me feedback or something, I will literally sit there watching which button you press. I've copied my user interface to match yours so that I can find the buttons. So then it's like, I see what you're doing. But I've never thought of slowing down a time lapse, which makes me feel a little bit stupid now, because obviously you can just slow it down and watch it. That makes so much sense.
maybe that's like a tip.
I've just learned
tips
something
and
new
tricks
today. Yeah, tips and tricks from Anna. Make sure you slow down the time lapse when you watch it.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just so much wanted to create the nice cyberpunk girl, which I actually managed, and I knew that in this time lapse there is precious information for me for my project. I was if I had to download it and then to upload it to the DaVinci and slow down its ear, and then to convert and then to slow down again, I would do it because I need this.
I never thought of doing that. That's brilliant. You are very resourceful as a person. Very resourceful.
Yes, thank you. Also, I wanted to talk about how do you think, what can CG schools give you except the lectures?
So above and beyond just your lectures and tutorials, I firmly maintain that what I paid for was a network more than the tutorials. You can find a tutorial online. You can watch a tutorial online. You can get them for free. So you're not really paying for that. The connections that I made, the people that I met, the opportunities that I've gotten just from going to a school where you're with like-minded people is incredible. I have this new circle of friends and colleagues that I've suddenly got access to, and on top of it all, I got an Anna. That was the best thing that I paid for. I got this incredible mentor that I got to work with, and being exposed to all of those things, that's what you're really putting your money into. I believe. You don't pay. I think I paid like 10 grand or something a year for that course, but it was very much worth it just for the people that I got to be involved with and meet through that.
And why this network is that important? I think very often we underestimate the importance of networking.
Oh,
So
much.
let's speak a
Yeah.
little about networking, why it is like so much important and everyone's talking about this networking.
Networking is, I feel like I'm going to give a lecture on this now. Networking is
Yes,
important
go.
because it's not what you know, it's who you know. And those, you're going to have more opportunities just from networking, from knowing people. You've got a better chance of finding a job in the industry if you've got people that you're connected to that can recommend you. You've got people to learn from if you're networking correctly, if you're talking to people. And again, it's not going onto LinkedIn and adding people to your profile. That's not networking. It's collecting people.
Collecting, yeah.
It's just weird. I mean, I remember when I had like 600 friends on Facebook and I didn't know any of them. That's you're not really.
Actually, I'm not very talkative.
I don't even know who these people are. I think I dropped it down to like 4 people at one point. I digress. So no, it's not just like adding people to your social media. There's no point in doing that. It's talking to people. And again, like, man, artists are just nice people most of the time. Even your really big famous ones, especially in this industry, we're just a bunch of nerds who like making dragons. Like, just talk to them. They're friendly. We're friendly people. And, having those conversations, you don't know what you're going to learn from someone else. So just talk to them and see what you find out.
Does it really happen that people really can recommend you to any company? How it is?
I definitely think I think you've got a really better shot at it. I know I've got like a network of people that I'm friends with within an industry, and those are the people that suddenly pop up and go, hey, so there's a job happening at this place. Like, are you interested? Do you want to see it? I know I've got a friend of mine who works at Playground Studios. And whenever there's something that happens there, she's like, hey, I'm putting you forward for this job. Like, okay, I have no idea what that job means, but sure. So it's always useful having those people that will help you, because it's difficult. Breaking into the industry is difficult. It is hard.
Yeah.
Giving yourself that edge of knowing someone it's so important. It's so important.
Yeah, exactly. And
If you're
actually,
trying to crack it by yourself, like, you're going to have a hard time. It's really hard.
Yeah, it's really hard, especially if you don't have friends. You may just even don't know that, like, in the company where you want to work and your friend is working there, they have an open job, because very often they start looking for people among the employees, asking that maybe someone who can fit our position. So and in my experience, I had such situations when I was recommended, like the latest one, I was recommended for the studio by a concept artist who I wasn't working like directly with him. It was, I know this artist because he was making concepts for Darksiders Genesis while he was working in Airship Syndicate, and I was working on this game but through Dragonfly Studio. So we were following just each other on Instagram, liking each other's posts, sometimes dropping a couple of words to each other, and that's it. And he recommended me to the studio where I work on these amazing Lodi games. Same as I was recommended by another artist to speak at the IBC conference. I that was I have been not working like collaborating with Maxon already for a year, but I was a ZBrush live streamer, and I was posting works, and I was following an artist who is here ZBrush trainer, who is Rodolfo Silver, who is like a very amazing artist, and he just told me, oh, I think you can be like invited artist for our conferences. Do you want to join? I said, of course, yes. And then he recommended me to their event manager, and this is how it works. You can be recommended for conferences, for a job.
The thing is, like, saying yes to opportunities as well is going to get you pretty far. Like if someone gives you an opportunity like that, if they say, do you want to come and speak at this thing, don't say no. Because if the moment you say no, they won't think of you again next time. So just do the things, do it, just go, just do things.
yeah, it's important to answer yes to all this not offers, it's like maybe opportunities which you have to speak at the conference, to maybe to work on a project. I have a story which I tell to people very often when I had a situation when I could get a great job, but I refused because I was, I don't know, scared, really scared, frightened and scared. So I always wanted to work in Riot Games for this League of Legends or for Valorant, whatever, just to work in Riot Games because I love their style. And like a little bit more than a year ago, I was sitting in my apartment in Ukraine, and I received a message with opportunity that was relocation opportunity for an outsource manager to Riot Games. So they literally would take me to United States, and I would work for them. I will not pay that much money which I pay right now for this immigration visa. So and I could work there. And what I did, I said, no, I don't want to relocate. So it's like an opportunity which I lost.
No, that's so sad. I didn't know about that.
You didn't know? So sad. I think I told you before.
Oh my, no, that's really sad. I'm so sorry. Actually, you know what? I'm going to ask you questions.
Okay.
Now. So I'm going to go with if you had all the money in the world, where would you learn 3D? Let's assume that you know nothing. Where would you go? And then where you are now, where would you go?
I would go to GNOME School of Visual Arts 100% to their longest program. I think the longest one is for 3 years. But 100, really? I think they're in Hollywood somewhere. They're definitely in Los Angeles.
All of their students look really good.
Yeah, I think you have no chance to fail in learning 3D if you're studying in GNOME school. 100% I would go there, just take all my money and let me. And I was thinking about going there about 5 years ago, but then I saw the tuition, and since I'm Ukrainian, for me it's twice. I think the price is twice higher for those who are not from European Union, from the United States. For complete foreigners, it's much higher. So I decided no, and that's the only reason why I didn't go. And right now, if I had all money of the world, I would take mentorship, like personal mentorship from Jay Hill and from Rafael Grassetti, and maybe
you had this all figured out.
And maybe from let me think, from sculptors like Simon Lee, because he is like, first of all, traditional sculptor, and he also sculpts in that brush, and the way he, like, his attitude to his sculpts is what I like. So it would be, because when you're making something, that what I started thinking about a year ago, that when you sculpt something, you need to think not only about how correctly the muscles are located, you need to think about what kind of story your piece of art is going to share with this world. There are a lot of amazing artists with like perfect quality of art, like they are absolutely perfect, but the works are without soul. They are really empty. And
that makes sense.
They're still amazing artists, but they are not the best not the great ones, because they don't have this inner conflict in their works. And that's like another reason why I always make my students pose their characters to show the story. If your character is not showing the story, you lose a lot of things. It's boring. And he loses a lot of, I don't know, reposts, likes on your ArtStation, on your Instagram. And this is important. People remember you. No, well, other people will remember you and name you as like one of their role models, maybe role model artists, only because they will remember that, oh my God, that work was amazing. And like 99% that was a work who made them feel something, some emotions, made them emotional, because they can compare what is done there to their own experience in life. That what makes you feel this.
It makes it tangible. Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying. I think that's the other another point in favor of having a mentor over going for tutorials is that if you're following a tutorial and you're recreating the same piece as the tutorial, first of all, we all know which tutorial you used. We know which one it is. We've all seen it. Like, don't try and pretend that you didn't follow a tutorial, because we all know which one it was. We've probably seen about 200 of them. The penguins, the penguins from CD Spectrum. Like, everyone's got a penguin on their portfolio because because that's where it is. Whereas if you, and that was where I was really lucky, because you encouraged me to step away from the actual course material and kind of pursue different concepts, which allowed me to have a more unique portfolio at the end of my time studying. And it gives you the opportunity to put in like what you are feeling and what you like, what you are about, what you want to be working on. So definitely, be careful if you're following tutorials. Don't just follow tutorials, because there's no heart and soul behind that. That's just following someone else's work.
But again, if you have already a little bit experience, if you just know nothing, then it's like the only thing which you can do is just to follow.
I made my penguin so that I could learn what I was doing, and then I thought I was very clever. And I can tell you now that the next project, I realized I really wasn't very clever, because I cried a lot during the project.
Which was the next? I don't remember. There was a girl, I think.
No, it was the alchemy room. And that's where I discovered my intense hatred for making leaves, because I didn't realize how difficult it was going to be making leaves all over the place.
But again, I think
it's a learning curve.
Again, I think that's a problem of me, because I'm a character artist. I'm not environment artist. If you had like as your mentor environment artist, I think he would give you like much more advices on creating leaves, because it's like his work. I was watching the one of the ZBrush live streams of Rodolfo Silva, who is environment artist, and he was showing how to create a tree with fiber mesh in that brush very quickly. And I was looking at this thinking, come on, does it really work? And it works. It wasn't even near my thoughts when I was thinking about how to create trees.
I never thought of doing that. I'm gonna go find that and watch that now.
I
know. Environment art is like mysterious to me. I find it. I'm definitely, and again, I blame you. I'm definitely more in line with characters. The moment you give me an environment piece, I kind of look at it and I'm like, oh my God, there's so much. It's such a big thing. Like, characters are really easy now. It's great. You've got a character, it's got a body, it's got a face, it's got some clothing. Like, you know where to start and what the process is. Environments are terrifying.
Again, that's because you had a mentor as a character artist. If you had environment artist, you would be like much more familiar with environmental pipelines, tips and tricks of creating. For me,
girls, I don't want to make trees.
I want to make characters. Exactly. That's what I think.
No, I'm stuck on it. I love doing character art, and I was always scared to do characters. I wanted to do environments because I thought it would be, I hate to say this, I thought it'd be easier. And I was scared that they're such an important aspect of anything. Like, I was worried it felt like a big responsibility when you do characters. And now characters are great and environments are terrifying.
Yeah, I know. But there is a tricky thing about character art. I really convinced that junior character artists, they don't exist.
Oh, no, they don't. Junior artists don't exist at all. There are no junior artists.
The thing is, like, again, it's very doubtable statement, but that how I feel. It's like not obligatory to be 100% true. It's how I feel that to create when you start making start learning 3D, for you it will be easier to create like a small scene in environment which is going to look like nice and decent, than to create on the same level the decent character. Because of this fucking anatomy. I am sorry.
No, but I hear what you're saying, because you can make an environment as a junior artist and you can kind of get away with it. Whereas if you're making a character as a junior artist, and you know, some of my characters that I first made, oh boy, it doesn't take much to look at it and go, that's not right. It doesn't look right. So you kind of have to learn all those things before
that's
you
understandable.
You someone.
Because we all see problems with anatomy. Even if you are not a character artist, you will see these problems with anatomy because you see faces every single day. If you make an environment and this, I don't know, the window is bigger than it should be, no one will notice it because it's okay. And with anatomy, it's like a little bit different thing.
Yeah, your character's going to end up in uncanny valley really quickly if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Is it obligatory for a 2D artist to, for a 3D artist to have traditional art background?
Is it though? Do you think it's useful? I think it's like sort of useful.
It will be always beneficial. It's not obligatory, but it will ease your way. It will be easier for you to master 3D, and your like works will look better. But again, if you have it, then it's great. If you don't have it and you don't have time for it and you already study straight to 3D, it's like not obligatory to dedicate a lot of time. If you want, of course, it will be beneficial for a skill. I saw this benefit when I went to learning 2D, like that was courses like in Ukraine, in Kiev. And after that, I was working in Dragonfly, and I remember that my team leader asked me, told me that I don't know what you have done, but your skill has grown up. So this artistical things, they somehow works. And even when I was talking to him like a couple of weeks ago, he told me, are you drawing? I said, no. Are you sculpting? Are you making speed sculpts? I said, no. And he said, if you want your skill to grow up, start doing this every day.
If you do the 2D stuff, or you go to classes or whatever for the 2D stuff, you kind of pick up the technique and the art side of things, which again is something that is very much lacking from a lot of courses and schools, is the I don't know, principles of art. So yeah, picking them up through 2D is also kind of useful. Yeah, I'm not a 2D artist. My 2D art is scribbles.
But there are a lot of basics which we include in 3D, like about the silhouette. A lot of my team leaders, while I was working, they always insisted on using this. In that brush you have flat material where you have only the silhouette, and they always insisted on checking your silhouette always with this material, because you will see where you have like wrong curves, which you can do.
Oh, that's clever. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and you rotate your character and you see where you messed up with silhouette. So
messed up? Me? I never mess up. My work is
always perfect. Always perfect.
There's never anything that's wrong with it.
Yeah. So that's another thing which comes from, I think, 2D, from traditional thing, because they're concentrated on silhouette. Same as when you're making textures, all these things with the gradients, how it works, that on top of the character, the head is going to be lighter.
The lighting and stuff. Yeah, and like the color theory and representation of colors and shapes and characters. I think that's also quite a useful thing.
Yeah, and how to combine this thing. I remember, again, when I was at these 2D courses, they showed, we had a lecture on how you can influence what the person who is looking at your work feels by changing the colors. So he showed, it was explained on the that was like a landscape, painting of landscape. The first one was in like bright, like fresh colors, like green, blue, yellow, and you have this like feeling of that everything is great, of happiness, of joy, of calmness. And then he showed absolutely same landscape, but painted in this aggressive colors like red, orange, yellow, dark violet, and you have absolutely different impression. So that's I very much like studying this influence
it's
of
interesting. That's
colors.
really interesting.
How to influence just by color.
I mean, I can tell you that living in the UK on a sunny day, everyone's a lot happier than they are when it's on a grey day. And unfortunately, it's grey a lot. So, you know, when the sun comes out and everything's bright and pretty, everyone gets all happy again.
Yeah.
Not today though. Today it's miserable. So today's going to be a couch day.
Yeah, that's why people say that in winter people become more depressed than in summer.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a lot of things is important. I remember I watched the Joker, the movie Joker, the first one. In this movie, they used so talently this influence of what you feel by this color. I remember there was a scene when this Joker was lying on the yellow bed. He was he was wearing red costume, and he was like very depressed, he was crying as far as I remember. And near him he has like a small table, and on this the table was also yellow, and on this table there was red lighter and red pack of cigarettes, and all this together makes you feel his emotions. It is so important. And this which usually taught at these 2D classes. At 3D, we are concentrated usually on different things. Usually it is said about the silhouette, I don't know.
Yeah, the shape, silhouettes, making sure that it's realistic, making sure that the curves are right. It's less about like the emotional impact of it. Because I think a lot of the time when you're learning stuff for 3D, for character art, for example, we know that we're making a character and then it's going to go to the next person. And they're going to be in charge of rigging it and making it, you know, a character that, making it alive, making it have some sort of personality, which is a shame because if you're making stuff for a portfolio or if you're making stuff if you're making anything, you should be making it with that end goal in mind as well. So yeah, I see what you're saying with that though.
Yeah. And as I said, it's pretty understandable because when we're talking about 3D in general, and it is courses not like 3-year program like in Gnomon, you will avoid some of the things.
Yeah, of course.
Like and usually these artistical things are avoided.
Yeah.
And let's talk about a little bit slippery topic. And this is why, how do you think, why everyone is making their own courses right now? Because there are plenty of people who are making courses right now.
Oh my God, you're going to have to edit this out because everyone's broke. Because everyone's poor. Because the market and the industry is having a bit of a downturn, and in case people haven't noticed, the entire industry is having a bit of a downturn. The film industry, the games industry, and there's not a lot of jobs, and people are kind of going out there and they're developing. People are creating their own jobs, which I think is a really cool thing to do as well. Like being able to make the most out of a bad situation is good. But yeah, that's why you're going to find loads and loads of artists making courses at the moment, which is great. Like if you want to learn, there's loads of people there that are willing to teach you if you pay them.
Yeah, that's also what I think. And I think also that it just became popular to record your courses. Of course, there are a lot of artists who genuinely want to share like what they know with you, and they are creating their own courses. At the same time, like all these layoffs and all these AI issues, and like as far as I know right now, if we look at the average salary, which was like 3 years ago, and compare to the average salary, which is now, right now it is or lower or on the same level, but the general expenses are higher.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's why
I've
you need
noticed
to
that.
invent other ways to earn money on what you already know. So yeah, some people are making courses, some of them are start making, like, creating their 3D printed shops where they can sell something. So yeah, I
Hey, that's
think
what
this
I
is
do.
like that.
That's me. Hi, I'm
Yeah.
the person making the 3D printed shop. But yeah, I think it's kind of interesting watching how people are adjusting to the situation and where people are trying to find. I think it's also people are doing it to get their names out there a lot of the time, which, more power to you. Go get your name out there. Again, there's a saturated market of people trying to find jobs and not a lot of jobs out there. So you're competing against these people, which sounds horrible, but it's the truth. So the more you have your own name out there, the more you are interacting, socializing, putting yourself out on the internet in a good way, the more luck you're going to have picking up work, picking up networks, picking up jobs. And I think that's what people are trying to go for as well. It's not just, not just the income side of it, and not just being able to teach someone. It's making sure that you are relevant and you are
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah, because even if you're talking about being present in social media, when you make courses or like
Yeah.
short tutorials, it's like another way to produce content which will be interesting to other people. So
Yeah.
it's like another way to show up among all other artists. And
Yeah.
right now it's very important because, like, before, just comparing to maybe like 7 years ago, like 10 years ago, when you were looking through ArtStation, there were only like well done characters. There were not so many artists who were trying to, there was no one who, well, there are a couple of artists who created the real out of their
Yeah.
works. And right now, when you create a character, you don't stop
Everyone.
after rendering.
No,
You
you
keep
got to
on,
make
yeah,
you got
you
to
can
make
collaborate.
content. You got to make a speed sculpt. You've got to make a reel to go with it. Like, oh, it's so much.
Exactly. You
It's
make
so
you make
much.
reels for Instagram, for
Yeah.
TikTok. You can even collaborate with animators or with VFX artists, and you can make just it's like a small project. It's like a small film which you can make out of this. And again, if it is nice, then you will become known. You will get this fame more. And again,
Yeah.
that brings you to the situation when the companies are looking for you and not you are looking for companies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And still,
Absolutely.
you need to learn
Absolutely.
how to make reels, how to edit,
Oh,
how
don't.
to all these things.
I
So
hate
like,
doing those things. I hate making reels. I'm not good at social media. I'm not good at like doing those things. And I have to force myself into doing them every time. And I feel very cheap every time I have to like pimp myself out on social media. But you kind of have to do it these days. Like it is just how the world is now. Like 10 years
yeah.
ago, it wasn't a thing. Now, if you're not doing those things, you're just going to go by the wayside. People aren't even going to notice that you exist. So
Yeah. Right
you
now,
kind
it's
of
not enough
just
just to be a 3D character artist. You need to
yeah.
learn a lot of other stuff
You
just
have
to
to be
be
a bit of an
noticed.
yeah, you have to be like an entrepreneur, and you have to make sure that you are your own brand and that you are pushing your brand and doing all these things that you got to do to get noticed, because there are just so many people. I think there was the problem with the pandemic was that during the pandemic, a lot of people, their jobs became unstable. The biggest industry that was making the most money was the games industry.
Yeah.
Everyone suddenly went into the games industry. The market is oversaturated. We have too many people that are trying to learn 3D and getting involved in 3D, which is making it more and more difficult. But that said, you have to have that resilience and stickability to carry on doing it, because it will stabilize and they will pursue other things. It's a really, really difficult market at the moment. People will disappear into the ether and go and work somewhere else. They'll decide it's too much effort. You just got to be the person that carries on and sticks with it, so that you're the one that ends up there at the end of the bad time, because it will turn around. eventually. I don't know when, but eventually it'll turn around. And you just got to be there when it does.
Yeah, yeah. We need to like to put some milestones. First of all, the game dev will not die at all. It will
No.
be reborn, maybe it will be changed, but it will never die. So if you want to be a 3D artist, it is still worthy starting
Oh, yeah.
learning 3D, because I think it is better to start learning 3D right now, because you have time to learn before this market stabilizes.
Yeah.
Because if you start learning this market when it is stabilized, then you will be like on the level of the market by the time of the next crisis. So it's time to do it right now, and it's definitely going to be amazingly difficult. What I can say that before you start learning it, you don't even have an idea of what else you will need to learn to become like on the good level, on their competitive level. But it's going to be interesting, and like this profession repays you when you already have senior level, lead level, and higher. Then you will have job always. You will be already known, you will have reputation, you have your portfolio, and it's not gonna be that difficult as it was at the very beginning. But at the very beginning, you need to go through this hell, and this hell really may last for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Maybe for some people less, for some people longer. A lot of things depends on, I don't know, on your luck, on your network. Because I personally was a person who struggled for 3 years before the first normal job, for 3 years. At the same time, I know people who started learning 3D in pandemic and only just sculpting that brush, or just, I don't know, some things like this, or just learning Maya. And like by now they already have reputation, they have already good jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I started in the pandemic, so I managed to be up to the right level right where the industry crashed. So 100% agree with what you're saying. On the flip side, like I gave up a career to do this, which was terrifying. It was a big decision to make, and
I can't imagine how you felt.
I felt great. I felt awesome. I'm very lucky because I've got a really supportive family and husband and all the rest of it. So they were very good about it and very supportive and kind in my decision. Now I've just got to prove that my decision was right and just stick with it. And I can't complain. Like, it's really difficult to complain and sit here being like, oh, there's no jobs out there. It's very difficult. The industry is very bad right now. It's very bad. Yes, but I got to sit and make a dragon today. Like, it's the coolest job in the world. It is the coolest thing you could be doing with your time. If your biggest complaint is like, oh no, I had to sculpt folds today and it was really difficult to make those folds look right on this beautiful character that I'm creating, which makes me so fucking happy. Like, what are you complaining about? At least I didn't have to sit and work in like spreadsheets and make taxes and things.
Exactly.
My old job, in my previous life, it was business. Like, I had to do all the businessy things. I had to wear the high heels and the business suit and go into London and be a big fancy person doing big fancy things. And now I get to sit in my pajamas and sculpt beautiful girls.
I know what you feel. When I graduated from the university and got my master degree in languages, like the ways where I could work was like interpreting. It's like oral translation of like English, Italian, Russian, Ukrainian, and usually it's like very business and interesting topics, or to translate books, or even at that time I didn't know that it was possible to translate subtitles. I didn't know about that, or teaching English, which I was actually doing. I was teaching English and Italian, but that wasn't. It's not. I have always dreamt of a job which is, playful, semi-playful, not that serious.
It's fun. It's so nice. Like, when I first started working with 3D, I just said to my mom, like, how did we not realize that this was what I was meant to be doing all along? I've always played games. I love fantasy. When I was a kid, I read Lord of the Rings and I used to sing all the songs. Like, It is so fitting that this is what I've found, and I refuse. I don't care how bad the industry gets. I refuse. I'm not letting go. Like, I'm here. This is what I want to be doing. It gives me too much joy to let it go, and I would rather do this and struggle at the moment than do something sensible that I wasn't happy with. It gives me too much happiness. I can't let go of this.
I think this is great words, and that's exactly what I also think. I always say that if there are going to be left only 10 game artists in this world, I'm going to be one of them.
I'll be
So,
there. I'll be there
yeah,
with you.
yeah.
It's just, it brings me incredible amounts of joy when I can hear my husband having a business meeting in the background, and he's having a big serious discussion about big serious things, and he comes through and I'm watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because I like the texturing, and it's actually part of my work. It's, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I think this is the kind of motivation which everyone who is thinking about going in 3D should have, because if you have motivation only money, then it's not a good motivation. Obviously, you will have like money, but not from the very beginning. Later, yes, but not now. And it's like no worth doing 3D if you're just only running after money. And I think that it is like the best words with which we could finish our podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been super fun recording this. I've really enjoyed I love getting just chat about nerdy things and
Exactly.
It's nice.
Thank you a lot for
Oh,
joining me on this
anytime.
podcast. We are going
Anytime.
to record much more because it's amazing. I adore talking to you about our CG things.
Oh.
But the last question, I have like last questions like for scriptum. I forgot to ask you. Asked me. I forgot to ask you. So if you had all money in this world, where would you go to learn 3D?
I would go to Anna and ask her to be my personal mentor.
Oh, come on.
I think like at the moment, genuinely, I couldn't ask for more than what I have. Like, learning from you is exactly what I want, and it makes me so incredibly happy. I wouldn't change a single thing that I've done. I really wouldn't, because it's gotten me to where I am now. I wouldn't change anything.
Thank you so much. It was great. And to all our audience, I want to say that you're going to meet us again soon in the next podcast, which is going to be soon.
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 It's going to be soon.